for women to come along and pretend they give a about the fact that most men are basically invisible. There is not a female on the planet who's invisible today. You can be a 4, overweight, fat, you'll still go to the club and get attention. 99% of the men go to the club and nobody even fucking talks to them. If they try and talk to a girl, they get blanked and ignored and told them. This is the truth about masculinity, right?
Facts.
It's very like, when's the last time you truly lived in the moment?
I personally live in the moment a lot.
No, but that's a good thing, right? That's a beautiful thing, and that's actually an asset. Like my brother is very similar to that. But the problem is, if you live very, very much in the moment and you're not on your phone, I feel like, and I can only talk from the masculine perspective, you're not competitive. Because as a man, you need to be doing things, talking to people, making money, moving things, etc. You have to be on your phone all the time.
Really like how you just delivered what you said, but I just find it crazy how we've just sat and said about people need to live in the moment and that, but then like you've sold courses trying to explain to people how to be like that. It's just aspire for this.
I understand what you mean, but unfortunately, and it's an unfortunate reality of the world, is that it's player versus player. Like if you go to a video game, if you play Call of Duty, right? There's 20 people in there and we're all trying to kill each other. And the world is very, very similar financially. I'm not saying we should be out here killing each other, but I'm trying to explain that there's a certain amount of resource and everyone's trying to get it. Oh. And I understand your perspective, but your perspective is feminine, as it should be because you're a woman, right? But the masculine imperative and the masculine perspective is you have to understand that life is war. It's a war for the female you want. It's a competition. Every man's trying to get her. It's a war for the car you want. It's a war for the money you want. It's a war for the status. It's a war. Masculine life is war. If you're a man who doesn't view life as war, you're going to lose. So as a man, you have to wake up and think, okay, everything I want, other men want. I have to outcompete every other man to get it. So how am I going to do that? Am I going to do that by living in the moment, ignoring my phone, having a fun picnic?
Do you believe in men's mental health? You are kind of like the problem in society in the sense of
Thank you.
Fast car, women, lifestyle. No, but it is. This is the problem.
It's not my problem.
I'm not saying it's your problem directly, but I'm saying this is the problem. Yes, all men probably want to aspire for that. But do you see the pressure there is on men?
Completely. It is much harder to be a man than be a woman.
Okay, so what's your thoughts on men's mental health?
I agree. It's much harder to be a man than be a woman, which is basically what you just said. Society's expectations of men is much higher than the societal expectations of females. I agree. Much more is expected of us. I agree. It's a harder game. Just like every other video game on Earth. It's a harder game, but if you complete it, you get a higher score. I think that being a top-tier male is the best human experience that any human can have. I think that being a female would not compare in any way to being a top-level man. No, reason why. There's experiences, right? Like women, we can literally carry lives inside of us. I agree with you, and I'm actually glad you chose that experience because that's the most important thing a female can do, and I agree with you, and I understand it's a beautiful thing. Because there's no society and there's no world without life. I agree with you. However, I think that as a man, you can build an empire. There's conquest as a man. And I think as a female, it's not quite the same. And I'm not saying this in any kind of way that disrespects females. I don't want people to look at this and think I'm disrespecting females. I'm not. I'm saying we have different roles. We do different things. And women give life. Women have a very, very important role. Probably the most important role in society. Women are beautiful creatures that do something separate that men cannot do. I think a top-tier male is more unique than a beautiful woman. I think that you get to build an empire. I think that you get to be respected and feared in a way that women never are. I understand that that's a very, very unique human experience, right? Most men never ever get there. The reality of life for most men is absolutely depressing. I completely understand when you talk about mental health.
So have you suffered from mental health?
No, absolutely not. Because I understood that as a man, you must build yourself. As a female, you can be born.
But did you not we need to stop going into philosophies and just stuff because I'm actually I want to understand you.
Okay.
Right. So have you not experienced mental health? No.
Zero.
Okay. So how do you cope with stress and situations? Express your emotions when you're frustrated or when you're stressed.
Good question. And if I'm stressed or I'm frustrated, then I understand it's my time to perform. And I agree that society puts huge pressure on men, and it's time for men to perform. As a man, you either perform or you don't. There's no safety net like there is for females. Females can wake up and say, I don't feel like it.
Yeah, but there is for men.
No, there isn't.
But there is.
The men who say, I can't feel like it, cannot compete with the men who do not say that. And it is player versus player. The man who goes to the gym every single day, regardless of how he feels, will always beat the man who goes to the gym when he feels like going to the gym. And it's player versus player. And let me tell you something. As much as you want to sit here and disagree with me, it's women who decide who the winner is. You will choose the man who's in fantastic shape. You'll choose the man with all his money right.
I like a dad bod, personally.
Okay, well, maybe you're an exception because you're an angel. but in general, we're talking in generalizations, because exceptions do not disprove the rule. Females will choose the man who's in fantastic shape. Females will choose the man who's got his money right. Females will choose the man who can fix any problem. Females will choose the man when they can go to him and say, everything's can you fix this? And he says yes without panicking. That's who women want. Women decide who the winner is. Women don't want the man when you come to him with your problems and he goes, oh, I'm too stressed today. Tell me tomorrow. No. Women don't want that.
But women also don't want a dickhead.
But having your life in order doesn't make you a dickhead.
You can have all those things, but then there's that fine line where your ego gets a bit too much. For example, like you could be very successful. You can have good-looking women that are attracted to you. You can just have all those qualities, but then once you possess that, you then suddenly can go past that line, your ego, then you start to become an arsehole.
I agree with you, but I'm not talking about that. I think that's a separate conversation.
No, I'm just saying, no, I agree with everything. That's what I'm saying. Like for me, I agree with everything you're saying, but what I'm trying to argue is the men get successful, they become even more narcissistic, and they just are not nice people to be around.
You're very, very smart.
Thank you.
You are. But you're doing what most females do, and you're conflating issues. So when you conflate, what you do is you mix two issues together to try and prove your point.
No, I've just been asking you personal questions,
Correct.
And every time you give me a philosophy
No,
around
it's not
it.
a philosophy.
No, but I'm saying in general, when I'm asking you, I'm trying to get to know you. On a level, how does a woman like me get to know a gentleman like you?
Here at this beautiful, nice, civil dinner we're having here with no animosity at all. You asked me about men's mental health. My answer was explaining that as a man, you don't have the luxury. Oops, I don't feel like it. You can do it.
You can, but I'm sorry, I know I keep cutting you, but I'm just like, because this is the part that gets really frustrating for me. Like men with this mindset that you have, like I get it. Okay, great, you are alpha, you've achieved all these things.
It's not about alpha.
No, but I'm saying like you possess all these. It's great, but you are the problem. You're creating this pressure on men and society. Like
no,
it's so
I'm not
competitive.
creating a pressure.
But men can actually, successful men can actually be like, oh, okay, I don't actually feel like it today. Like they actually can take a break and rest at that.
I understand. My point is that it's player versus player, and if you're a man who's going to constantly give in to mental health problems or mental health trouble, you're not going to be able to compete with the men who don't.
Okay, but can we validate men that have?
Completely. If you have mental health,
so we can't go player. Just validate men that have mental health issues.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Men who have mental health issues, I wish them the best in the world.
Okay, great.
But when they come to me and say, and I get this all the time, Andrew, I have this problem, I'm depressed and I can't go to the gym. I say, no, I disagree. You're depressed because you don't go to the gym. If you go to the gym, you might start to feel better, right? I'm saying you can't sit as a man and afford the luxury of saying, I have a mental health issue today, I'm sad today, I'm stressed today, I'm emotional today, I can't work, because you will lose against the men who don't do that. And the male world is more competitive than you could possibly imagine. And it's the women who pick the winners. So I find it very interesting that a woman sits here to me and says, no, men are allowed to sit around and do fuck all and feel sad. And those are the men they ignore when they DM.
No.
Those are the men they ignore them all.
No, actually, can I just chime in here? So, for example, everything you've said, you've possessed, you've proved your point, right? But as a high-value woman, if I respect and love my partner, I'm not putting that pressure. I would say, babe, you know what? You can have a little rest. Like, there are women that actually enable men to process that emotion.
Agreed.
But yeah, so we'll still go back to tomorrow. Okay, let's go back to work. But there are good women out there that don't put that pressure. I feel like your reality on women is warped because of a certain caliber of women.
I agree. You're right. But you're missing a very vital point of that story. You're right. But as a high-value woman, before you say to that man, you can have a day off and you're allowed to be sad today, you will only even get with him. Let me change that. You will only even acknowledge he exists if he's ignored how he feels 99% of the time before that. Because if he was sad most of the time before that, he never would have got to a place where he could attract a woman like you. The man who works in Starbucks, who's sad all the time, you won't reply to him. Neither will any other female. So for women to come along and pretend they give a fuck about the fact that most men are basically invisible. There is not a female on the planet who's invisible today. You can be a 4, overweight, fat, you'll still go to the club and get attention. 99% of the men go to the club and nobody even fucking talks to them. If they try and talk to a girl, they get blanked and ignored and told to Most men are absolutely and utterly invisible. This is the truth about masculinity, right?
Facts.
It's very easy for women to sit here and complain about the top 2% of men because I dealt with this guy, he's arrogant, blah, 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 blah. Most men don't even fucking exist. They send 10,000 DMs and never even get read, let alone replied to. So for you to sit here and say, I'll get a G, a big G, a boss, a millionaire, and let him have a day off, very nice of you. I'm sure you would. But if a guy who wanted to have days off all the time, he never would have got important enough in the first place to attract a woman like you. And that is the reality. As a man, it's player versus player. It's ultimately competitive. And as a man, you have to outcompete the other men who are prepared to get up and do it anyway. That's how it works.
いやー、
No such
それ
thing as saying,
な
I'm sad, I need 2 weeks off. Not as a man if you want to be important. Maybe as a chick, you can always put more foundation on and be hot again. Great. Not as a man. If you want to be important as a man, you have shit to do. You have duties.
Yeah.
This is how it
You have
exists. This is how it's
duties.
always been.